So today's topic is a case study. It's all about our hybrid personal training model in practice. And if you've ever wondered how a hybrid approach may potentially revolutionise your training sessions, that's what we're going to dive into and give you a real-world application of our method. So Strength Matters wise, all our clients are online. We're kind of changing the game a little bit with our sister company, Cricket Matters. We have a promising young fast bowler working with us at Cricket Matters. James, do you want to talk about how we're approaching it, what we're doing?
Yeah, I think this is great. Ever since we've opened up, so for those who aren't aware, we've opened a sister company, Cricket Matters, which really showcases our products and our services. Because one thing we want to do and share is like everything we're doing, we're actually doing it to run our own business at the same time. So there's personal trainers out there or anybody who's aspiring to be a personal trainer and coach. We want to share with you behind the scenes of everything that we are doing. So Cricket Matters is that exact our fitness company because of my love for cricket and me in that community and doing things. We've just found a little niche that works quite well. So this is a great example of the hybrid personal training model in action and how we actually apply it. So we had a promising fast bowler, for those who know cricket, like a pitcher example, if those in the States, come to us and he wanted to work on his game. He has aspirations of becoming a professional, and I saw things in person that he needed help with. So we put it to him saying, hey, we need to work with you and do these things. So like we said in a previous episode we've just done recently, that we said, look, we can work with you online, but I think professionally speaking, I need to do some work with you in person because it was to do with his running mechanics. And there's only so much you can do with somebody online. However, I needed some hands-on work so I could see some things here, and I suggested he may need that too. So he took it up. So this was essentially our model in practice of what happened. So a potential client came to us, asked for our professional advice. We said, well, yes, we'll happily work with you in terms of what we're doing, but we also recommend you having in-person sessions too. And that's how it happened. That's kind of the conversation. That was the sales call, strategy call, whichever way you want to talk about it. So what we want to go into today is what did we do when he said yes to all of that? What were the steps and how did the teamwork approach things behind the scenes and what we did here and why we think this is a great example of when you have a team of coaches working together, all in the same system, how it creates an exceptional experience for your clients at the same time. Is that going to sum up, Josh, of what we did?
Yeah, good summary. So, of course, as we would with all clients, we got him set up on TrueCoach, which is what we use, and we ran him through the assessments in the simplest possible terms. And obviously then, as he was going through assessments, James and I were speaking day to day. I was telling him what I was seeing in the assessments, what was popping up, what was any potential weaknesses, strengths, what I was seeing in terms of his movement, because we also do ask for videos. And then James had obviously met him in person and watched him do some bowling, do some running, and he was we were confirming it nicely, wasn't it? It was actually confirming, the assessments were confirming what you were seeing in person as well.
Yeah, so I think that let's break that down even further and say the step-by-step process that we have. So you guys have a step-by-step process of understanding what we did. So the first thing, after he said yes, he wants to work with us, obviously they paid the money and they said, yes, we're going to come and work with you. Before I work with him in person, right, the goal was to do the assessments that we have. So I then set him up on the system and then passed him on to Josh, who ran the assessments with him online. So he wasn't working with me to begin with. All I did was set him up on the system, and Josh got him set up with the assessments where he self-assessed, right? Once he'd done those assessments, Josh then organised a call with him to discuss what he'd seen, and he relayed the feedback to me of what he saw. So obviously, I'd seen him in person and done a lot of stuff with him, on the cricket field as well, and seen what was going on. But I wanted Josh to get an eye on it and get the data on the side of things, so we understood exactly what it was, and we could both see the same things together. Once they'd done the assessments, right, we then worked on his in-person sessions. Now, he booked in for 5 in-person sessions. Okay, that's the bolt-on service that we suggested he had, because I don't think he needed long-term in-person training, just 3 to 5 sessions to get him up and running with his running mechanics to begin with. So once he did the assessments, we knew what was going on with that. Nothing was flagging up at all per se, except for his hips, right, which we kind of saw with his running gait in person, which flagged it up. I then took and started working with him in person. Now, I didn't do all 5 sessions in a week, right? Far different from that. What I did was, I did one session with him, Then we spent a week in between where he did loads of homework that Josh then assigned to him to work on his hips and work on the running mechanics that we did. So me and Josh were conversing, sharing back what was happening. So I did some basic running drills, A skips, B skips, get him moving, teach him how to run properly. Josh then gave him homework via the online training software that we had. And he practiced that before the next session. As opposed to doing the same thing over and over again each session, holding his hand, he got better. So the next session we could go further with his development in what we wanted to achieve. And we kind of followed this pattern. So the first week was like a week in between. Second week was a week in between as well because he needed to practice some stuff. And then week 3, he had 2 sessions in a week because he was already so good at what he was doing. Based on what he was doing, he's improving his hip mobility. He was doing the A skips and all the running drills we've got him doing. And then I'm going to work with him now in the final session next week to kind of put it all together into his run up and how to practice it, approach it onto the cricket field. So that was a very good example of us working as a team for the best interests of the client at heart to give them the best experience. So they felt they had a team working with them. Now the great news is that it didn't take us that much time to do this with him. It wasn't like Josh was spending hours doing stuff with him. He was just doing little nudges here, little nudges there, putting the program together, but then communicating with him daily, whilst I only worked with him in person and seeing the feedback and moving on from session to session. So it was a great example of how a team can come together to the benefits of a client. And obviously they really enjoyed it and they saw the benefits of it. And so much so that they're telling other people about it too. So, it's a good example of like, you think beyond just your level of services. If you have a great team, if you're a gym owner or a facility owner and you want your clients working together like this, it's a great way to go. And this is how we put it into action, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And the great thing is, from my perspective, is that obviously when you work with him in person, you're doing filming his run up and showing all the progressions, and it's great to see from my perspective how it's all improving, how his run-up has changed and his mechanics and everything have improved over the sessions and everything that we've done. And I think the important thing to point out as well is it only works because we're both speaking the same language, because we know the assessments and the system we have in place. So it wouldn't work if you were just working with your friend and you both weren't singing from the same hymn sheet. As we say, you have to follow the same system of assessment, system of training, which is what we have in place here at Strength Matters and Cricket Matters, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So that all comes down to our performance pyramid that a performance pyramid that we use, and then the assessments here and how we score it and stuff. And again, we'll talk about the scoring system later on, but they saw the visual progress, the scores and the doors. We work with them in person, and it's over that short period of time to then go into a long-term development cycle where, again, I don't think he needs to work with us in person. He's 17 years old. He's in school. He doesn't need to be that in person with us. He can take responsibility for his own training. And again, if he wants to be a professional athlete, he has to take responsibility anyway for it. So we're encouraging him to go on to the online coaching because it's going to be in his best interest. Then maybe next year when he comes back into nets and training sessions, we can work on some more stuff on the technical side of things that he needs to do. But until then, he's good to go. We've got him a good starting point to work on his running mechanics, and we have a great insight into how he moves and how strong and how weak he is cardiovascularly and in strength terms too.
Exactly. And if you want to find out more about our hybrid coaching model and how we implement it, go to strengthmatters.com/HCP. That is it for today. Please don't forget to rate, review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.